Now we are going to learn about a new chapter, relations and functions. So this is the first chapter in 12th standard. Before this, we have to know two important definitions. One is set and another one is Cartesian product. Okay. Earlier, you studied both set and Cartesian product in class 11. But once again, we recap these two definitions. So let us see set. What is a set? A set means it is the collection of a well-defined objects. For example, collection of alphabets A, B, C, D and so on up to Z is a set. Let it be some letter A. And the collection of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Let it be some B. Now this is also a set. So these are two examples to a set. Now we know that if suppose the number of elements in any set is finite, then that is called a finite set. The number of elements in any set is infinite, then that is called infinite set. Look, A has a limited number of elements, A, B, C, D and so on up to Z, probably 26 elements there. Therefore, the number of elements in the set A is equal to 26, hence it is a finite set. Whereas, the set B contains infinitely many numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, it is going on. So that this set contains infinitely many numbers, hence it is a infinite set. And a set which does not contain any element is called empty set. It is called empty set. Usually it is denoted by 5. So it is empty set. A set which is not empty, that is called non-empty set. That means the set may contains whether a finite number of elements or infinite number of elements. Then that is called a non-empty set. The next second definition is Cartesian product. Cartesian product. What is this Cartesian product? Let us take the two sets, non-empty sets probably. Let A comma B be two non-empty sets. Two non-empty sets. And for suppose some element A belongs to A and some element B belongs to B, then A is related to B, like A comma B, is called ordered pair. Is called ordered pair. So here A is some element chosen from A and B is some element taken from B. Now the pair A comma B is called ordered pair, and the collection of all possible ordered pairs defined from A to B is called Cartesian product. So the collection of all possible ordered pairs. So I am taking in set builder form like this. The collection of the ordered pairs where A belongs to A and B belongs to B. Now it is a set collection of all possible ordered pairs defined from A to B is known as a Cartesian product, which is denoted by A cross B. So A cross B is a Cartesian product defined from A to B and it is collection of all possible ordered pairs defined from A to B. Now let us take one example. Suppose the set A is equal to A, B, C and another set B is equal to 1, 2, 3. Now we can make a possible ordered phrase from these two sets A comma 1, A comma 2, B comma 1, B comma 2, A comma 3, of course, B comma 3, and C comma 1, C2, C3. Now these are the possible ordered pairs that are defined from A to B. Hence, this is a set known as Cartesian product A cross B. Now this is one example. Now let us take one more example. In a combined family, let A be A is equal to a set of males. Of course, let they be A1, A2, A3. And B is equal to a set of female, that is equal to B1, B2, B3. A is set of males and B is set of females in a combined family. Now again two sets are chosen. Now A can relate with B1. Definitely A has some relation with B1 and A1, B2, A1, B3, A2, B1, A2, B2, A2, B3. Like that A3 also has relation with B1, B2, B3. So that the possible number of relatives A is equal to a set of males A1, A2, A3. B is equal to set of females B1, B2, B3. Now the possible relations between A and B. A cross B is equal to, the possible ordered pairs are A1, B1, A1, B2, A1, B3 and also A2, B1, A2, B2, A2, B3. Next with A3, A3, B1, A3, B2, A3, B3. Now, therefore, it is the set of all possible ordered pairs defined from A to B is known as a Cartesian product. Now, here A1 is related with B. A1 is related with B. Now, that is the connection between the two objects AB. Now, this type of connection is known as a relation. So, relation means it is nothing but a relation between the two objects, a connection between the two objects. Now, relation. Now, let us define relation. Any subset of a Cartesian product is called a relation. So, this is the mathematical definition. Any subset of a Cartesian product. Suppose, let us take two non-empty sets A and B. A is equal to A, B, C, and B is another non-empty set 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, we have the possible ordered pairs from A to B known as Cartesian product A comma 1, A comma 2, A comma 3, B comma 1, B comma 2, B comma 3 and C comma 1, C2, C3. Now, these are the possible ordered pairs defined from A to B known as a Cartesian product, already you know. Now, I am taking one set like this A comma 1, B comma 2, C comma 3. So if we take a set be like this, A1, B2, C3. Now this is a subset of the given Cartesian product A cross B. It is a subset of, because of these ordered pairs already belongs to the set A cross B. Hence, it is a relation denoted by R. Similarly, let us take one more subset like A1, A2, B2, C3 like this. See here, it is also a subset of A cross B. Hence, it is also another relation. Suppose for the first one be R1 and it is R2, etc. We can define some other relations from A to B. Now, take one more example. Let us take one more example. Let R is equal to modulus of x minus y is equal to 2 for some x belongs to A, y belongs to B, where A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and B is equal to again the same set 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let us check whether this R is equal to modulus of x minus y is equal to such that x belongs to A, y belongs to B is a relation or not. Let us check. Actually, here we have there are 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 like that. We can define 4 into 4, 16 ordered pairs can be defined. Now, let us see. Modulus of A cross B is modulus of x minus y is equal to 2. What are the possible values that are satisfying this condition? Suppose if we choose 1 from set A and 1 from set B, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0 but not equals to 2. 1 minus 2, no. 1 minus 3, yes, minus 2, of course it is modulus, so that it is equals to 2. So that the possible ordered pair satisfying this condition is 1 comma 3. Okay. Next, any more? 1 comma 4, not possible. And 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, yes, the second one, 2, 4. Because 2 minus 4 again satisfied the same. With respect to 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, no, 3, 3, 3, 1, okay, possible na? 3, 1, yes, it's possible. 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So, 3, 3. Next, with respect to 4, 4 comma 2. This is a subset to the Cartesian product defined from A to B. Hence, this R is a relation. This is a relation. So, we can conclude that the relation R is always subset of A cross B. Relation R is always a subset of A cross B. Of course, sometimes R may be equal to A cross B. Therefore, finally, R is subset or equal to A cross B. Now, there are different types of relations, out of which the first one is empty relation. What is empty relation? So, a relation does not contain any order pair is known as a relation. For suppose A is a set, a non-empty set, and for some A belongs to A is not related with any element of A. That means we cannot define any order pair in this set. Therefore, it is a empty set, empty relation. It is a empty relation. So, A is a non-empty set. A belongs to A, is not related with any element of A, is known as a empty relation. Let us see one example. One example. If suppose the set A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and one relation is defined like this, modulus of x minus y is greater than 10 such that x belongs to A and y belongs to A. Now, let us see any possible ordered pairs. So, do you think any possible ordered pairs defined from A to A satisfying this relation modulus of x minus y greater than 10? If I choose any element here, 1 minus 1, 1 minus 2, 1 minus whatever the number you choose, then they cannot satisfy this relation modulus of x minus y greater than 10. Hence, it is a empty relation. It is a empty relation. Next, let us take one more example. Suppose in a combined family, A is the set of males. Now, let us define a relation R such that A is sister of B such that A comma B both belongs to A. Look, A is sister of B such that A comma B belongs to A. Here we have taken the set of all males in the family, but A is sister of B, but A and B both are chosen from the same set A. Then how is it possible? No, it is not possible. So, A is not a sister to B. Hence, this relation is empty relation. This empty relation is also known as a void relation. Void relation. The second definition is universal. Universal relation. What is this definition? Every element in A is a non-empty set first. A is a non-empty set, and a relation R in the set A is said to be universal relation if every element in A is related with every element in A. So, every element in the set A related to every element of A. Now, see, let us see, A is equal to the set 1, 2, 3 and let us make a relation like this. Every element in the set A related to themselves 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3 and 2 1, 2 2, 2 3 and 3 1, 3 2, 3 3. See, now every element is relating with the every element of each element in A is relating with every element of A. Hence, this relation is known as a universal relation. And one more example, in a combined family again. So A is the set of a family members. Family members. Okay. Now let us take one member from A. Definitely we know that each and every member has a relation with another member. Therefore, for every A belongs to A, so there is some B belongs to B such that A comma B has a relation. A belongs to A and B belongs to B has a relation, so that this is also a universal relation. Now let us see the third definition. Here it is, there are three important definitions. One is reflexive relation, and second one symmetric relation, third one is transitive relation. Now let us see first reflexive relation. What is a reflexive relation? A relation or in a set A is said to be reflexive relation. Is said to be a reflexive relation if every element of A is related to itself. Every element of A relates to itself. In other words, for some A belongs to A is related to itself. Therefore, A related to A comma A, or A or A. Any relation which obey this type of condition is known as reflexive relation. So, reflexive means that every element is mapping to itself. For example, if A is equal to a set 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let us take one relation R is equal to 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3 and 4 comma 4. See, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. One relation I have taken. Now let us check whether this relation is reflexive or not. See, for every element in A is mapping to itself. That is the definition. Now check there. Yes, 1 is associated. 1 is related to 1. So 2 relates to 2. 3, 3, 4, 4. Yes, therefore this condition, this definition is verified. Hence it is a reflexive relation. Okay. Next, suppose if I take one more example like this, 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3, 3 comma 4. Now check it whether it is a reflexive relation? Certainly not. Why? Because here 1 is related to 1, okay, 2 comma 2, okay, 3 comma 3, okay, but what about 4? 4 is not relating to 4. so that it is not a reflection, not a reflexive relation, not a reflexive relation. But of course it is some relation, but not a reflexive relation. Next, we can take one more example for this reflexive relation. Now let us take one more example on reflexive relation. Let A be set of integers. Set of integers. Now a relation R is defined as A minus B is an integer, where A and B both are belongs to A. A minus B is an integer such that A comma B belongs to A. Now let us check whether this relation reflexive or not. For reflexive, what is the definition? Every element is related to itself. Now suppose if I choose A, then what? A minus A is equal to, yes, A minus A is equal to 0. Yes, 0 is also an integer. 0 is an integer. That means A is related to A. Hence, therefore, here the relation R is reflexive. Okay. Next, the second one is symmetric. Symmetric relation. Symmetric relation. A relation R in a non-empty set A is said to be symmetric relation if A related to B implies B related to A. Once again, a relation R is said to be symmetric relation in the set A if for every A, for some A related to B implies B related to A. That means A comma B belongs to R implies B comma A also belongs to the same relation R. Then that relation is known as a symmetric relation. Now let us see one example. Again, consider one set A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And let us choose one relation R is equal to 1 comma 2, 1 comma 4, 2 comma 3, 2 comma 1, 3 comma 4 and 4 comma 1. 3 comma 2 and 4 comma 3. Suppose some relation is considered like this. Now let us check whether this relation is symmetric or not. What is the definition? If whenever A comma B belongs to R implies B comma A also in the same relation R. Now let us check 1 comma 2 belongs to R implies whether 2 comma 1 also belongs to the same set? Yes. 1 2 2 1. 1 4 belongs. So 4 1 also in the same set. So 2 3 belongs to R. Then 3 2, 3 4, 4 3. That means for every A comma B belongs to R implies B comma A also belongs to R. Hence this R is symmetric. Suppose if I take one relation like this, 1 comma 2, 4 comma 1, 2 comma 3, 3 comma 2, the 2 comma 1, 3 comma 3. One relation is taken like this. Now let us check whether it is a symmetric. 1 comma 2 belongs to the set. Yes, 2 comma 1 is also in the same. But what about 4 comma 1? It is not there in that set. So that here this condition is failed. Hence this relation is not a symmetric. It is not a symmetric relation. Now let us take one more example. Example 2. let A be set of integers. Earlier, we verified that, one relation I take, A minus B is an integer for some A belongs to A and B belongs to A. Now, this is some relation I have taken. Earlier, we verified this relation and it is already a reflexive relation. Now, let us check whether the same relation is symmetric or not. A minus B is an integer. A minus B is an integer. A related to B implies A minus B is an integer. That implies B minus A is also an integer. A minus B, whenever A minus B integer, then B minus A is also integer. Of course, it is positive, it will be negative. It is negative, it will be positive. But both are integers. When B minus A is an integer means that B related to A. So, A related to B implies B related to A. Therefore, the relation R is, now here the given relation R is symmetric. Now, the third one is transitive relation. Third one is transitive relation. A relation R in a set A is said to be transitive relation if A related to B and B related to C implies A related to C for some A comma B comma C belongs to the set A. So, once again I repeat, the relation R is said to be a transitive relation in the given set A when A related to B and B related to C implies that A also related to C. Then that relation is known as a transitive relation. Or in other words, A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R implies A comma C also belongs to the same relation R. Then the relation is said to be a transitive relation. Now, let us take one example. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So, one set I have chosen 1, 2, 3, 4 and one relation I am taking like this 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 3 comma 2, 1 comma 4, 4 comma 3. Okay, it's enough. It's enough. See, now suppose if I take one relation like this 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now 1 comma 2 belongs to the relation. 1 comma 2 belongs to the relation and 2 comma 4 also belongs to the same relation. This implies 1 comma 4, yes, it is there in the same relation. Okay, next, suppose if we choose the two ordered pairs 1, 3 and 3, 2. 1, 3 belongs to R, 3, 2 belongs to R, 1, 2, yes, it is already there. 1, 2 also belongs to the same set. Suppose if we take another one 2 comma 4, then there is no ordered pair possible like B comma C. So that no need to consider this one. So here if we choose the two ordered pairs like this A comma B belongs to R, B comma C belongs to R, then A comma C only in that set, in that relation, then only that relation is said to be a transitive. Now it is a transitive relation. Now consider one more example. A is set of integers and R is the set A minus B is an integer. Where A comma B, R is equal to A minus B is an integer where A belongs to A and B belongs to A. Okay. Now, earlier we verified this R is a reflexive relation and it is a symmetric relation. Now we are going to verify this is whether a transitive relation. Now, A minus B is an integer. That means if A related to B implies A minus B is an integer. We know. Suppose B related to C implies B minus C is an integer. Okay. Next, A minus B is an integer, B minus C is an integer. Now while adding these two, A minus B plus B minus C is equal to, what happens? Minus B plus B gets cancelled and it becomes A minus C. Of course, it is also an integer. Why? Because A minus B is some integer, B minus B is another integer. The sum of two integers, obviously it is also some integer. Therefore, so when A minus B integer, B minus C integer, we are getting that A minus C is also integer. Therefore, A is related to C. Hence, finally, the given relation R is a transitive relation. Transitive relation. So, by observing, so already we have taken the common example in all these three cases, that is R is equal to A minus B is an integer. So that this relation is reflexive relation, symmetric relation and transitive also. Next definition. Now, the another definition, important one, equivalence relation. It is the fourth definition. What is the equivalence relation? A relation R in the set A is said to be equivalence relation if it is 1. Reflexive, 2. Symmetric, 3. Transitive. Therefore, a relation which satisfy the three conditions, reflexive, symmetric and transitive, is known as equivalence relation. So, some example is already earlier we have taken one example. A is equal to, A is the set of integers. A is set of integers and one relation I have taken A is equal to A minus B is an integer for some A comma B belongs to A. Now we know that this A minus B is an integer is a relation already reflexive and it is symmetric and it is transitive. So that clearly this relation R is a equivalence relation. Equivalence relation. Now let us take one more example. The second one. Suppose Z is set of integers. Z is set of integers and one relation R is equal to 2 divides A minus B for some A comma B belongs to Z. Now we are going to verify this relation is equivalence or not. So to verify that whether it is equivalence or not, we have to verify the three cases first: reflexive, symmetric, transitive. Now let us check whether this relation is reflexive or not. So suppose here A comma B are two elements in the set Z. For reflexive relation, I am taking A belongs to Z such that A minus A. What is A minus A? A minus A is equal to 0. So definitely 2 divides 0. Yes, it's true. Therefore, A is related to A. Hence, the relation R is reflexive. Next one. Suppose A related to B. That implies A related to B means that 2 divides A minus B. 2 divides A minus B. This implies that 2 divides B minus A also. Therefore, B is related to A. Hence, for every A comma B belongs to R implies B comma A also belongs to the same relation R. Hence, the relation R is symmetric. Next, let us check whether it is a transitive or not. For A comma B comma C belongs to Z such that A minus B what is the relation here? I have taken 2 divides. So 2 divides A minus B. 2 divides A minus B and 2 divides B minus C. 2 divides A minus B and 2 divides B minus C. Then now we are going to prove that 2 divides A minus C also. Now while adding these two, A minus C is what? It is nothing but A minus B plus B minus C. Therefore, so here A minus B is 2 divides A minus B means that A minus B is divisible by 2 and B minus C is divisible by 2. Therefore, it is divisible by 2, it is divisible by 2. So that it becomes, the summation becomes some even number. So definitely every even number is divisible by 2. Is divisible by 2. So finally, therefore, 2 divides A minus B. Hence, now this implies that, A minus C. Hence, this implies A related to B, where A related to B, A related to A, and A related to B implies B related to A, and A related to B and B related to C, then A also related to C. So that this relation is a transitive relation. So finally, the given relation is satisfying the 3 definitions: reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Hence, this relation is a equivalence relation. Okay. Now, let us consider one more example. Let L be the set of all lines in a plane. L is set of all lines in a plane, and R be a relation in L defined as L1 is perpendicular to L2. One line L1 is perpendicular to another line L2. That is the relation given. Now, show that R is symmetric but neither reflexive nor transitive. So, prove that this relation is a symmetric relation but not reflexive and but not a transitive. Now, let us see. So, given that L is set of all lines, okay, and R is a relation defined on L such that L1 is perpendicular to L2 in set of lines L. Now, first of all, let us check whether it is a reflexive relation or not. What is the definition of the reflexive relation? For some A belongs to A, if A is related to itself, A comma A belongs to R, then the relation R is said to be a reflexive relation. Now, here let us choose some line L1 belongs to R, L. Now, L1 is perpendicular to L1. L1 is perpendicular to L1. Is it true? No, it is not. Therefore, this is a wrong statement. Hence, this relation is not a reflexive relation. It is not a reflexive relation because no line is perpendicular to itself. So that it is not a reflexive relation. Next, consider two lines L1 and L2 belongs to L. Now, consider the relation R such that L1 is perpendicular to L. Now, this implies if one line is perpendicular, let us take like this L1 and L2. It is L1, this is L2. L1 perpendicular to L2. Now, see, by geometrically, when L1 perpendicular to L2, L2 is also perpendicular to L1. Therefore, L1 is perpendicular to L2 implies L2 is perpendicular to L1. That means for every A comma B belongs to R implies B comma A also belongs to the same relation. Therefore, here this relation L1 related to R, L1 related to L2 implies L2 related to L1. Therefore, hence the relation R is symmetric. It is a symmetric relation. Now, let us check whether it is a transitive relation or not. Consider three lines L1, L2, L3 belongs to L. And now, L1 related to L2 implies L1 is perpendicular to L2 and L2 related to L3. This implies L2 is perpendicular to L3. When L1 related to L2 and L2 related to L3, now we have to check whether L1 related to L3 or not. L1 perpendicular to L2, L2 perpendicular to L3. Now, is L1 perpendicular to L3? Now, let us draw some geometrical approach. That is L1 is one line already taken. L1 is one line. L2 is the second line perpendicular to it. Okay. And now, L1 perpendicular to L2. Now, L2 is perpendicular to L3. So, draw one more line L3 perpendicular to L2. How can you draw? Definitely like this. So, the line be like this or like this, coincidence with the L1. So, whatever that, but we cannot define a perpendicular line L3 to L1. That means L1 perpendicular to L2, L2 perpendicular to L3 implies that L1 is not perpendicular, parallel to L3. Therefore, so here L1 related to L2, L2 related to L3, but L1 is not related to L3. Hence, this is not this relation R is not, the relation R is not a transitive relation. Transitive relation. So, finally, the given relation is symmetric but not reflexive and transitive. Okay. Now, let us consider some problems in exercise. This is one problem. See, show that the relation R, which is defined as A comma B such that A less than or equal to B, where A comma B both are two real numbers, is a reflexive relation and a transitive relation but not a symmetric relation. Now, let us see. Here the relation R is equal to A comma B such that A less than or equal to B, where A comma B belongs to R. Okay. So here R means that set of real numbers. Set of real numbers. Now, let us check whether it is a reflexive relation. For some A belongs to R, then we have to prove that A related to A. Now let us see A or A. That implies that A or A means that A less than or equal to A. Right, it is true. But A not less than, but A equal to A is possible. So is true. Therefore, the given relation R is reflexive. Next one. Suppose A comma B, two elements are chosen from set of real numbers R, and A related to B. This implies that according to the relation, A related to B means that A less than or equal to B. When A less than or equal to B, is B less than or equal to A? No, certainly not. Here B is not less than or equal to A, because B greater than or equal to A, but not less than or equal to A. That means B is not relating to A. Hence, this is not a, here the given relation R is not a symmetry. Next, third one. Suppose A comma B comma C, three elements in set of real numbers. And if suppose A related to B implies A less than or equal to B by the given relation. B related to C implies B less than or equal to C. Now, is A less than or equal to C? Yes. Now, this is the first inequality, this is the second inequality from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2. A less than or equal to B, but B less than or equal to C implies A less than or equal to C. Therefore, A is related to C. Hence, A related to A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R implies A comma C also belongs to the same relation. Therefore, the given relation R is transitive. So finally, the given relation is reflexive, transitive, but not symmetry. Now let us take one more problem. Let L be the set of all lines in xy plane and R be a relation in L which is defined as R is equal to L1 comma L2 such that L1 is parallel to L2. The relation is L1 is parallel to L2. Now show that this relation R is an equivalence relation, and also find the set of all lines related to the line y is equal to 2x plus 4. Okay. Now see, the relation is R is equal to L1 is parallel to L2. Given that the relation R is equal to L1 comma L2 such that L1 is parallel to L2. So L1 comma L2 are the two lines in set of the lines L. Now, first of all, we have to check whether this is a reflexive relation. For that, L1 belongs to L, L1 belongs to L, then L1 is parallel to L1. Yes, obviously. So every line is parallel to itself. Therefore, L1 is parallel to L1. This implies that L1 related to L1. Hence, the relation R is reflexive. It is a reflexive relation. Next one. Suppose L1 comma L2 are two lines from the set L such that L1 is parallel to L2. You know, one line is parallel to L2 means L2 is also parallel to L1. L2 is also parallel. to L1. Therefore, L2 is related to L1. If L1 is this one and L2 is this one, if L1 is, L2, if L1 is parallel to L2, then L2 is also parallel to L1. Both are two parallel lines. Therefore, L1 related to L2 implies L2 related to L1. Hence, this relation R is symmetric. Next one. Suppose if I take three lines L1, L2, L3 belongs to L. Now, such that L1 is equal to, L1 is parallel to L2 and L2 is parallel to L3. Now, is L1 parallel to L3? Yes, obviously. L1 parallel to L2, L2 parallel to L3. Therefore, all the three lines are parallel. Hence, L1 is also, this indicates that L1 is parallel to L3. Therefore, when L1 related to L2, L2 related to L3 implies L1 is also related to L3. Therefore, the relation R is transitive. And finally, the relation R is, say, equivalence relation because it is already reflexive and symmetric and transitive. Hence, the relation R is symmetric. Hence, the relation R is equivalence. Equivalence relation. Okay. Next, there is one more problem here. What is that? Find the set of all the lines related to the line y is equal to 2x plus 4. All the lines related to y is equal to x plus 4. If one line is y is equal to 2x plus 4, then what are the other lines? They are also parallel to them. The other lines are also parallel to y is equal to 2x plus 4. So, when the lines are parallel, already you know, when the two lines are parallel, their slopes are equal. Therefore, the general form of the lines that are parallel to y is equal to the lines that are parallel to y is equal to 2x plus 4 or y is equal to 2x plus some constant where k is any real number. Now, these are set of all lines related to y is equal to 2x plus 4. Yes. Now, let us take one more problem. Let R be the relation. R be a relation in the set A 1, 2, 3, 4 given by R is equal to 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2. A relation is given like that. Now, choose the correct answers. Here, 4 alternatives are given. One is R is reflexive and symmetric but not transitive. The second one is R is reflexive and transitive but not symmetric. The third option is R is symmetric and transitive but not reflexive. Now, the fourth one is R is an equivalence relation. Now, given that R is a relation 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2. In the set A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, suppose, now let us check whether it is a reflexive relation. For some A belongs to A. For some A belongs to A chosen. Then A comma A, the relation must contain A comma A. If I take 1, yes, 1 comma 1, is there? Yes, 1 comma 1. So, if we select 2, then the relation must contain 2 comma 2. Yes, here it is. And if we select 3, 3 comma 3, there, 4 comma 4, there. Therefore, clearly, for every A belongs to A is related to A. This implies R is a reflexive relation. Okay. Next one. Now, if A is related to B, then what? B related to A. Now let us check whether B related to A or not. When 1 comma 2 is given in the relation, then the relation, if the relation may contain the 2 comma 1, then that would be a symmetric relation. If 1 comma 2 belongs to R, but there is no 2 comma 1 in this set, hence 1 comma 2 belongs to R implies 2 comma 1 is not belongs to the same relation. Therefore, whenever A related to B but B is not relating to A, hence the given relation R is not a symmetric. And next one, third one. Suppose if we select the two ordered pairs such that A related to B, B related to C, then let us check whether the relation such that A related to C. 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2 consider 1 2 2 2. So 1 related to 2, 2 related to 1 comma 2. Yes, it is already there. So if we select these two ordered pairs, then 1 comma 2 also in the same relation. Next, any more? Suppose if we consider this one 1 comma 1 and 1 comma 3. 1 comma 1 and 1 comma 3. So 1 comma 1 belongs to R, 1 comma 3 belongs to R, 1 comma 3 itself, yes, that is also in the same. If 1 comma 1 belongs to R and 1 comma 1 belongs to R and 1 comma 3 also belongs to R, implies yes, 1 comma 3 also belongs to R. Next, second, 1 comma 3 belongs to R and 3 comma 3 also belongs to the same relation. Therefore, from these two, we can define 1 comma 3, yes, itself also belongs to the same relation. Any more? Yes, see, 1 3 belongs to R, 3 2 belongs to R, 1 3 3 2, 1 3 3 2. Then 1 comma 2, this relation, if the relation contains 1 comma 2, then it is a transitive. Yes, 1 comma 2 already there. So that whenever the two ordered pairs are considered, then the third one also defined. Hence, A related to B, B related to C implies A is also relating to C in this relation. So, finally, the relation R is transitive relation. It is a transitive relation. Finally, we can conclude that the given relation is reflexive, transitive, but not symmetric. So, reflexive, transitive, C, second option, R is reflexive and transitive but not symmetric. Now, let us redefine the another definition, function. What is a function? Earlier you studied about the definition of the function, but once again I recap the same definition. A relation f defined from x to y is called a function. Remember, a relation f which is defined from x to y is called a function if every element in x relates with an unique element in y. See, a relation f defined from x to y is called a function. A relation is said to be a function when if every element in x relates or associates with unique element in y. So, this is the basic definition to a function. In another way, it can be defined as a relation f which maps from x to y, of course defined from x to y, is called a function, when x f maps, I mean f defined from x to y is called a function if every element, I mean for every x belongs to, for every x belongs to x, then there exists an unique element, I mean unique y belongs to y, such that f of x is equal to y. Now this is also the same. Every relation defined from x to y is called a function. Every x belongs to, every element x belongs to x, then there exists some element y belongs to y uniquely such that f of x is equal to y. Now this is the definition here. So x is relating to y, therefore the y is called, here y is called image of x and x is called pre-image of y. So when x maps to y or x relates to y, y is said to be image of x and x is said to be pre-image of y with respect to the function f. And the function f is defined from x to y, I mean f maps x to y is a function, then x is called, this x is called domain of the function f, and y is called codomain of f. See, when any function f is defined from x to y, then here this x is called a domain and y is called codomain of the given function f. And the set of images is called range of f. Now these are the three important quantities. One is the domain, second one is codomain, third one is range. Here x is called domain, y is called codomain, and what is range? Range is nothing but the set of images. Images means the elements that are the elements in y that are associating with the elements of x. So here range is always, so clearly range is always subset of the codomain. Hence the range is always subset to codomain. Of course, sometimes it may be equal. So usually the range of a function f is denoted by f of x. So the range of f is denoted by f of x and f of x is always subset to codomain y. Now let us take one example for this. Here x and y are two non-empty sets where I am taking x as some x1, x2, x3 and the set y is equal to y1, y2, y3 and a relation f is going to be defined that x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y2. Now this is a relation defined from x to y. Now let us check whether it is a function or not. So according to the definition, every element in x relates with the unique element in y. Here what are the elements in the domain x, x1, x2, x3? Now see, x1 is related to associate to y1, and x2 relates to y2, and x3 y2. So that definition is verified here. Otherwise, we can define the two sets x and y like this, and x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3 with respect to f. x1 is mapping to y1, x2 maps to y2, x3 also mapping to the same y2. See, so each and every element in x is associated with the unique element in y. Hence, this relation f is called a function. It is a function. And x is called the domain and y is called codomain. Here, y1 is what? y1 is the image. y1 is the image of x1 and y2 is the image of x2 as well as x3 also. y2 is image of x2 and x3. Therefore, the set of images, that means y1 comma y2. Now this set is called the range. It is range of f. Range of f denoted by f of x. Okay. Now let us take one more example. Example 2. I am taking the set x as x1, x2, x3. The another set y as y1, y2, y3, and define a relation like see x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3, and f is a relation. Suppose x1 maps to y1, x2 maps to y1, x3 maps to y2, and x3 maps to y3. Now let us take a relation like this. Now here also each and every element in the set is associated with some of the elements in y. But so see, particularly x3 is mapping to two distinct elements. That means uniqueness is failed here. So that this is not a function. It is not a function. Now take one more example. Suppose if same x is equal to x1, x2, x3, and I am taking the same sets y is equal to y1, y2, y3, and let us take one more relation f x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3, like x1 maps to y1, x2 maps to y2, that's all. Now, suppose if I take any relation like this. Now, is it function? So, x1 mapping to y1 only, x2 maps to y2 only, but what about x3? It does not related to any of the element in the set y. So that x3 do not have any image. So, by the definition, every element in x must be related. But here x3 is not associating with any of the elements in y. Therefore, again it is not a function, which is not a function. And take one more example, a simple example. Suppose if a relation f defined from n to r, where n is equal to set of natural numbers and r represents set of real numbers, such that f of x is equal to x square, where n is set of natural numbers, r is set of real numbers, and the relation defined like that, f of x is equal to x square. Now, let us check whether it is a function or not. Now, here n contains the elements 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Now, when x is equal to 1, what is f of 1? At x is equal to 1, f of 1 is equal to 1 square. Okay, now so n is equal to set of natural numbers 1 2 3 4 and so on, and r is the set of all real numbers containing positive and negative real numbers including 0, and the function, I mean the relation given that f of x is equal to x square. Now at x is equal to 1, that implies f of 1 is equal to what? 1 square, that is 1. F x is equal to 2, that means f of 2 is equal to 2 square, which is equals to 4. At x is equal to 3, f of 3 is equal to 3 square, which is equals to 9. That means the output values are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, etc. like that. Now they are always belongs to the same real number set. Now all these values are belongs to 1 belongs to R, 4 belongs to R, 9 belongs to R, 16, 25, etc. all are belonging to the same real number set. That means therefore the given function f is a function, the relation f is a function. The relation f is a function, and here the set of images, what are they? 1, 4, 9, 16 and so on, perfect squares. Now this set is range of the given function f. Now these are the some of the examples to a function. Next one is types of functions. Now there are different types in functions. Earlier you studied identity function, constant function, step function, of course greatest integer function, and signum function, etc. Now let us define some more types of the functions here. So among them, the first one is one function. One function, and it is also known as injective function. What is the one function? A function f defined from x to y. A function f maps x to y is called one function. Is called one function or injective function when if different elements in x have different images in y. See, different elements in x have different images in y. Then that kind of function f is called a one function. So f maps x to y is called one function if different elements in x have different images in y. In another way, we can define x1 comma x2 belongs to x such that f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies x1 is equal to x2. Then the function f is said to be a one function. So when the two elements are chosen from x such that f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that means their functional values are equal, then the two elements should be equal. Then also the function f is said to be a one or injective function. Now let us take one example for this. If suppose x is equal to the set x1, x2, x3 and set y is equal to y1, y2, y3. And now let us take one relation or function like this x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3. x1 is mapping to y1, x2 maps to y2, x3 maps to y3. See, every element in x is associated with the unique element in y. So basically it's a function. and different elements are mapping to different elements in y. Different elements of x are mapping to different elements in y, so that it is a 1-1 function. It is a 1-1 function. And one more example. Suppose if under the same sets x and y, let us define one more function like x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3, x1, x2, both are maps to y1 and x3 maps to y3. Now see, so of course it is a function, but not 1-1. Why? Here two different elements x1 comma x2 have same image y1, so that it is not a 1-1 function. Next, take one more example. Suppose if a function f is defined from x to y such that f of x is equal to 2x. I think better to consider x and y as n to r. It's better, I think. So now the function f maps n to r, set of natural numbers to set of real numbers, such that f of x is equal to 2x. Now let us check whether this function is 1-1. So if we take any two natural numbers such that x1 comma x2 belongs to n, such that f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that implies f of x1 means what? 2 of x1, 2x1, and it is 2x2. Now clearly 2 cancel on both sides. So x1 comma x2 belongs to n. F of x1 is equal to f of x2, implies 2x1 is equal to 2x2. This implies x1 is equal to x2. So while 2 cancel on both sides, x1 is equal to x2. So that whenever the two numbers are chosen in the set n, then we are getting the condition that x1 is equal to x2. Therefore, the f is a 1-1 function. F is a 1-1 function. So we learn about 1-1 function. Suppose if any function is not 1-1, so what? Then it is called a many-one function. Note, a function f is not 1-1 is called many-one function. Here we have this example 2. So clearly this example 2 is not a 1-1 function, so that is a many-one function. Suppose if you want, I give one more example, that is example number 4. Suppose if a function f is defined from R to R such that f of x is equal to x square. Now let us see, is it 1-1 or many-one? So R to R means that here R is set of real numbers to set of real numbers. So let us take two numbers here. I think probably -1 and 1. So -1 and 1 both are belongs to set of real numbers. Now f of -1 is equal to -1 whole square, that is equal to 1, and f of 1 is equal to 1 square, that is also 1. So that f of 1, f of -1 both are same. F of -1 is equal to f of 1, but -1 is not equal to 1 here. When f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies x1 is equal to x2, then f is called 1-1, but that condition is not satisfying here. So that f of x is equal to x square is not 1-1, hence it is a many-one function. Now the another definition, second one, onto. Onto function or surjection or surjective function, whatever. So onto function or surjective. surjective function. What is this? Suppose a function f defined from x to y, and every element in y, has at least one pre-image in x. See, every element in y has at least one pre-image in x. Then the function f is called onto function or surjection. Now, in another way, every element in y, for some y belongs to y, now there exists at least one pre. There exists some pre-image x belongs to x such that f of x is equal to y. Then f is called onto function. So, see, for every y belongs to y, there exists some x belongs to x such that f of x is equal to y, then f is called a onto function. Now, let us take one example for this definition. Example 1. Consider x is a set x1, x2, x3 and y is the set y1, y2. Now, a function is defined between them. F is defined like this: x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, such that x1 mapping to y2, x2 mapping to y2, x3 mapping to y1. Suppose any relation be like that. Now here see, x1 mapping to y2, x2 maps to y2, y3 maps to y. That means every element in the set y has at least one pre-image in x. So y1 has the pre-image x3, y2 has two pre-images x1 and x2. So that every element in y is associated with all elements of x. So that this is a onto function. It is a onto function. Next, one more example. So same sets, x is equal to x1, x2, x3, y is equal to y1, y2, y3, and consider again a relation x1, x2, x3, y1, y2. If x1 maps to y1, x2 maps to y1, x3 also maps to y1. Now, clearly it is not a onto function. Why? Because y2 do not have any pre-image, so that it is not onto function. Not onto function. A function which is not onto is called into function. Note, a function which is not onto is called into function. Okay. Right. Now, take one more example. Suppose if f maps n to r, set of natural numbers to set of real numbers, such that f of x is equal to 2x. Already we verified this same function in the previous definition. Clearly it is 1 function. Now let us check whether the same function onto or not. F of x. So here r means set of real numbers. I am taking some element y belongs to R such that f of x is equal to y. That means 2x is equal to y. Therefore, x is equal to y by 2. Is y by 2 natural number always? No. Because for some y values it may be a natural numbers, but not all the real numbers. So suppose without loss of generality, y is equal to 1. If y is equal to 1, such that f of x is equal to 1, that means 2x is equal to 1. Therefore, x is equal to 1 by 2. But 1 by 2 is not in the domain n, because n is set of natural numbers, 1 by 2 is not a natural number. Hence, it does not belongs to n. So that y is equal to 1 belongs to R. Hence, this 1 do not have any pre-image in the domain n. Therefore, this function f is not onto or not surjection. So, since it is not onto function, obviously it is a into function. Now, let us say two problems here. Show that the function f maps n to n, set of natural numbers to set of natural numbers, given by f of 1 is equal to f of 2 is equal to 1 and f of x is equal to x minus 1 for every x greater than 2. So, here the function is defined in two ways. At 1 and 2, the function is equals to 1. For every x greater than 2, it is defined as f of x is equal to x minus 1. Now, show that the type of function is onto but not 1, 1. Now, see the first one. Solution. Given that the function f is mapping from n to n, set of natural numbers to natural numbers, and also given that f of 1 is equal to f of 2 is equal to 1. So, clearly it is not a 1, 1. Why? 1 and 2 are two distinct elements but not equal to, but not equal. So, this implies 1 not equal to 2. Therefore, the given function f is not 1, 1. Is it onto? Now, let us see. For some y belongs to set of natural numbers, codomain. Y belongs to n. Here n means codomain. Y belongs to any codomain n. Then such that f of x is equal to y. This implies where f of x is equal to what? F of x is equal to x minus 1 is equal to y. This implies x is equal to y plus 1. Y plus 1. Now, y plus 1 for every it must be compulsory greater than it is a natural number, you know. X is equal to y plus 1 is a natural number. For any y you choose from n, definitely it belongs to some natural number. And also f of 1 is equal to 1, f of 2 is equal to 1. That means 1 has the pre-image 1. So, 1 also has the same pre-image 2, but rest of the cases the pre-images are in the form of y plus 1. So, that definitely the given function f is onto. So, that the function is onto but not 1, 1. Now, see second question. What is that? Show that the function f maps R to R, set of real numbers to set of real numbers, defined as f of x is equal to x square, is neither 1, 1 nor onto. So, prove that the given function f of x is equal to x square is not 1, 1, not onto in R to R, set of real numbers to set of real numbers. F maps R to R such that f of x is equal to x square. Now, it is already known that x square and set of real numbers, let us take two elements x1 comma x2 belongs to R. Here R is the domain, such that f of x1 is equal to f of x2. Then this implies x1 square is equal to x2 square. When x1 square is equal to x2 square, then x1 need not be equal to x2. So this implies x1 is equal to plus or minus x2. But x1 need not be x2. Sometimes x1 may be minus x2 also. Or with some example, minus 1 plus 1. Minus 1 plus 1. Both are belongs to 1. And minus 1 whole square is equal to 1 square. But minus 1 is not equal to 1. Therefore, the given function f is not 1, 1. Now, is it on to? Now, let us see. For some y belongs to R, codomain, such that f of x is equal to y. That implies f of x means x square. X square is equal to y. Now, right here, x square is equal to y. X square is equal to y means x is equal to plus or minus root y. Now, look there. Y is any real number. Y is any real number in the codomain such that x is equal to plus or minus root y. Suppose if y is positive, no problem. Definitely square root exists. What about for negative values of y? The square root does not exist. That means the negative values of y do not have pre-images. When y is less than 0, then there is no pre-image. No pre-image of y. Therefore, this function again, the function f of x is equal to x square is not onto. So, finally, the function is neither 1, 1 nor onto.